mystery in your soul, waiting to shine. Pour a cup, lay the cards, let the magic flow. Every path has a meaning, every heart will know. We all have a journey, we all have a light. Through the highs and the lows, it's gonna be alright. At the TarotJo Café, let's talk for a while. Sip on some wisdom, leave here with a smile. The world feels lighter when we share our way. So pull up a chair at the TarotJo Café. She's a dreamer, a healer, a seeker, a friend. Every story has a lesson, a love with no end. In the shuffle of life, we find what is true. Spirit's been waiting, just calling to you. We all have a journey, we all have a light. Through the whispers of fate, we'll find it tonight. At the TarotJo Café, let's talk for a while. Sip on some wisdom, leave here with a smile. The world feels lighter when we share our way. So pull up a chair at the TarotJo Café. Through laughter and lessons, through heartache and dreams, the stars keep on shining, more than what they seem. Open your heart, let the universe play, where we're all connected in some kind of way. So follow the stories, let spirit be free. Light workers rising like waves on the sea. At the TarotJo Café, your soul's home to stay. Come in, come closer, don't drift
Hi, I'm Jo, also known as TarotJo in the world of tarot. As a passionate tarot reader, teacher, and author, I've dedicated my life to exploring and sharing the wisdom of tarot and spirituality. Through my books, courses, and workshops, I guide people on their personal and spiritual journeys. I created this podcast as a tribute to tarot and spirituality, a space where we dive into deep and meaningful conversations with well known and emerging voices in the spiritual and tarot communities. Whether you're a seasoned tarot practitioner or just curious about the magic of the cards, this is the place for you. Would you like to be a guest on my podcast? Do you have an inspiring story to share about tarot or spirituality? I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me at info@tarotjo.nl or send me a DM on social media. If you enjoy this podcast, please support me by liking, following, and subscribing on Spotify, YouTube, and all my social media channels. Your support means the world to me. Now, let's dive in today's episode. It's going to be another fascinating conversation. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my podcast. I've got a very special guest from the other side of the world, Australia. It's very special to have her on my podcast, and it's the amazing Jo Watkins. Yay! There she is.
Well, thank you so much, Jo. It is wonderful to be here with you tonight, just to have a good old chin wag and talk about tarot and you coming across to Australia for the Western Australia Tarot Conference, which is going to be held in 5 weeks tomorrow. So we're all very excited here in Western Australia. And tonight, look, it'll be wonderful to be able to share with everybody, you know, the story about the Western Australia Tarot Conference, and yourself being an international guest speaker coming across, and what we have to offer, and including just a little bit about me. You know, I'm the host, the owner of the conference, and we're excited. We really are.
I am excited as well. I can't wait. It's just a few weeks, and then we'll meet each other in person.
I know. This is so exciting. You know, Jo, when you think about it, it was, you know, back in, I don't know, the middle of 2024, I think we got talking on Facebook, you know, and we were talking about your wonderful new deck. And I was very privileged, you know, when you asked me if I'd like to be a person, you know, within your deck. And I of course, I said yes. You know, it was wonderful. And as we got talking, I did mention to you that this 2025 conference, the theme is the High Priestess card. Now, the laughter, couldn't believe it, the synchronicity, divine intervention. You said to me, Jo, the card that we've asked you to be, guess what it is? And okay, the High Priestess card. Yes. That was so special. So we're all very excited to see what you've created when you bring your deck across, and, you know, your talk over the conference weekend.
Yeah, because the High Priestess, people were fighting about this card to have it. And I felt, and that's the other thing that we're going to talk about, you felt as well, something about a speaker coming over. And I felt it wasn't the right fit yet with people that wanted to have the High Priestess. And it was the end of 2023. I can still remember you were sending something out on Facebook, long live Facebook, something like, I hope to see you soon. I hope to see you guys soon at the tarot conference. And I wanted to put in like, hope to see you one day soon. And then I hesitated.
Yes.
I erased the text and I said, I hope to see you soon as a speaker. And I was like, oh, I'm going to send this over. And I
love it.
Send, and within an hour we were on the phone. Remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, this is something that I guess only tarot people get, is that it doesn't matter where we are in the world, we form beautiful connections, and these connections we make become friends, and these friendships are so special because we're all connected, you know, by the tarot and our love for, you know, our craft and what we do. And, you know, yourself as a reader and a you know, author and a deck creator like myself, we have this bond, and it's fabulous. You know, doesn't matter where you are in the world, that, you know, your tarot community just expands and expands. And, you know, Facebook is fabulous because, you know, we get to talk regularly. I mean, you and I message all the time, so we always catch up and know what we're doing. And it doesn't matter that, you know, I'm on one side of the world, you're on the other. We still meet up, you know, which is so special.
That's the good thing about modern technology. I mean, we should embrace it too. Like, you're sitting in, you know, other side of the world. I'm here in Holland, and we can talk to each other live. How amazing is that, isn't it?
It's such a hot night here in Perth. You know, I'm in a tank top. I'm sitting under the air conditioner. I can't open windows or doors. It's so hot outside. And then yourself, you know, is ice cold.
Yeah, it's about 3 degrees here. So it's a bit of a big difference in temperature. You know, I'm wearing my jacket and you're just like, okay,
oh,
this
hair's
is the max
tied up,
I
just
can
trying to air off. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Thank you very much for being this amazing High Priestess. And I'm using my tarot deck a lot, and you appear a lot on the table. So thank you for that.
Oh, it's very special. It really is. And the conference, Jo, is relatively young. I've done many things in the tarot industry within Australia. There's no doubt about it. And something happened back in 2020 when my father passed away. I I sort of had a bit of a realization of how short life really is. And I'd always wanted to create something where I could bring people together. Now, previously I had created organizations in Perth. I had been an event coordinator in the tarot industry. I'd done a lot of things. But to actually hold a conference in Western Australia, see, the difference between a conference and a psychic fair and expos, etc., a conference is structured where it's all about tarot. We don't have, other mediums come through. It's just tarot, and we do have the oracle creators, oracle cards, which tarot readers use. But I wanted to create something that was just definite tarot. And I thought to myself, I can't afford this. I don't even know where to start. I was very fortunate back in 2017. I went across to the UK Tarot Conference in London and met Kim Arnold, and I was a key speaker. And I loved it so much, and my presentation went well. Kim invited me back for 2018 as a guest speaker, and that was fabulous. So those 2 years I'd met a number of people, and went back again in 2019, and oh my goodness, I was getting excited because I was really building up, Facebook with friends and thinking, can I do this? And then, of course, COVID got in the way. And then at the end of 2020, when Dad passed, I thought to myself, Jo, you can do this. Just put it out there. Just trust in the universe. So I spent 2021 learning how to structure a conference, how to set it up, finding a venue, putting things in place. And then I was ready to launch the conference in March 2022. And then the Australian government put harsh restrictions on event coordinators, very harsh, to the extent, not that I want to talk about COVID or anything, but the restrictions meant I had to cancel my conference because unless you were vaccinated, you could not attend. And I didn't want to put a divide between everybody. And I allow people to have an opinion, a choice, that's just how life is. So, I'd sold tickets for the conference, paid caterers. And once I was told that we're going to have a marshal at the door, and everyone who doesn't have their COVID passport is not allowed in. And if I let anyone in, I'm going to get a $50,000 fine. And I had to make the decision because I didn't want to cast out people who had a voice, that everyone has a choice. So sadly, I cancelled the conference and cried for 2 weeks. And I don't think I left the house for 2 weeks. I think I just cried and cried and cried. Anyhow, I put on my big girl pants and started again. And 2023 happened. That was fabulous. 2024 conference was absolutely wonderful. And 2025, I have yourself and 2 other international guest speakers coming.
That's amazing.
So that is exciting. So we're still going. The conference was something that I thought, well, 2022 was difficult, and I didn't let it get the better of me. Well, after 2 weeks of crying, that is. And 2023 worked. People bought tickets. People came. Most people had no idea what a conference was. They'd never been to a conference before.
No.
2024, again, tickets sold. And again, 2025, we keep the conference to around 100 people because it's a big ballroom and I don't want people squashed in like sardines. So 100 people across the ballroom is a beautiful amount. And now we're getting people buying tickets from the other side of Australia. People are flying across now for the conference. And it's exciting. It really is. And, people say to me, Jo, this is wonderful to have something so different, bringing people together for, the weekend. And all we do is talk tarot. We love it. We have
work with the tarot as well, right?
Yeah, look,
and work with the
it's just
tarot.
so, look, it's just so much fun because each presenter has a different take of presenting, and it could be a particular spread. It could be about the history of the card. It could be you know talking about a deck they've created and where it's come from. Just the information people share. The public love it. And plus we have really good morning teas and light lunch and afternoon teas and a lot of laughs. We really do.
Making new
It's
friends. But what made you decide back then that you really had to push through? Because it's taking quite of a courage to say, okay, I'm canceling it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it again next year. What made you decide this?
Oh, okay. That's a really good question, and it's something I've probably never really thought about. I think once I licked my wounds and got over myself and thought about it, I thought, no, I'm not going to be stopped. Why should I? I'm not going to let anybody stop something I believe in. I've got nothing to lose but give it my best shot. I don't use the word try a lot. I really don't. It's not a word. It's not one of my favorite words. So I think Yoda had a quote once, don't try, just do.
Just
And
do
I
it.
did. And it worked. And that was an absolute blessing because it worked. And I was so grateful. And I have, people contact me about, local people in Western Australia saying to me, Jo, can I be a guest speaker for next year's conference? But before I know it, like 2026, I've already got speakers for that. That's already in the pipeline. I'm actually working on 2027 now.
Wow.
So, that's a little bit too far ahead even for me. But 2026 is all pre-booked, pre-sorted, and we haven't even done 2025 yet.
That's amazing.
Yeah, look, Perth is an amazing city. We're one of the most isolated cities in the world. Our nearest neighbour is Indonesia, Bali, not even the other side of Australia. The other side of Australia Bali is only 3.5 hours in a plane trip, which is international. So that's like our little playground on weekends. But to get to the East Coast, it's too expensive, too far. And Perth just doesn't have a lot of people come here, because of the distance. People will go to Sydney, they'll go to Melbourne, and they have a lot of things in the east. But Western Australia, I've actually put Fremantle, where the conference is held, on the map. Our local newspaper in Fremantle contacted me in 2022 when I cancelled the conference, and they actually said to me, we actually read about it on Facebook, and we want to know why you've cancelled it. And I was quite surprised that a newspaper would, give a damn about my business and what I do. But they said, look, it's Fremantle related. We want to know why. And so they wrote a lovely article about the decision I made. They called it the COVID card. and I'm hoping that they come back and do another story about you guys for the 2025 conference. That would be exciting to have you in our newspaper.
You mean me in the newspaper in Perth or Fremantle?
Yeah.
That'll be
so
great.
that's in the cards. That is a possibility.
Great.
But
I will make sure I do my hair and makeup.
Nah, you don't worry about that, love. Just no, not in Fremantle. It's so laid back. It's easygoing. And Fremantle is a part of Perth that is very alternative. The layout of Fremantle, when you see it, and where we hold the conference at the Italian Club, which is such a beautiful old, not heritage by any means, like 1970s type old building with character. But everything's alternative. Everything's laid back. Fremantle's easygoing, and it's a place where people, can. There's a couple of beautiful New Age stores in Fremantle that have been there for quite some time. The markets, and you can buy all your New Agey products. But it's just the streets to walk around. It's just got, people are very unique. People are who they are in Fremantle. and they're not bothered by other people's opinion. You know, it's wonderful. You know, you can see people of all walks of life, and there's no judgment. It's just this one little place in Perth where it's quite sacred. It doesn't matter if you're a punk rocker. It doesn't matter if you're a Buddhist monk. You can walk down the street. No one will look twice. It's just so laid back.
Love it, love it. Can't wait to go there. I mean, I've been to Australia, but not on this side yet, on the Perth side. I've always been to Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, those kind of cities I've been to, but never to Perth. So for me, it's all new. But there are Dutch roots connected to Western Australia, right?
Yes, there are. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's Western Australia is a very big state. There's no doubt about it. And Perth is still a very small city, you know, considering, and Perth being the capital city. And Fremantle, I think by memory, is 45 minutes drive from the main city, and it's on the coast, which is really special. So even the Italian club, from one of the rooms off the ballroom, you can actually see the water, and that's how close we are to the ocean. It's all fishing harbour, and then you've got the ocean, and the sunsets are amazing. So, you know, it's just a beautiful little place. I can't wait till you both come across and, you know, get to experience it. It's just really lovely.
Lovely. Looking forward to it. There's not a whole big history about the conference yet, but have you experienced some interesting stories, that things that might not have gone the way you wanted? Can you remember some of things that went south, went backwards?
Well, besides the COVID with 2022 that I didn't expect, so planning a conference, you have lots of choices with how you set up catering, how you set everything up. You know, over the last few years, I've learnt about having a rubbish bin to put all your recycled things in. I'm not kidding. When you go through 600 coffee cups over 2 days and you don't have a rubbish bin because you forgot to bring them, you're in trouble. I'm not kidding. It is the most hilarious thing. You know, you're putting on this amazing presentation, this show, and then you've got all these coffee cups and plates and everything loading up, and you're trying to hide them in the back room because you forgot bin bags. Oh, that I know that sounds minute, but when you're an organizer, that was incredible. I mean, you know, one year we had one of the projectors decide not to work. Poor Russell Sturgis, if you're listening to this, your presentation was fabulous, but he was heartbroken. He'd created this amazing, slideshow, and he'd worked really hard to put it together. The bloody projector wouldn't work. Couldn't believe it. The next guest speaker, of course, it worked. There's always something that happens. You know, there's in between morning teas, lunch and afternoon teas, we have readers for the guests. And I can remember one year, I'm ready to introduce the next guest speaker, and I'm looking across and I'm seeing one of the readers still with their client, and I'm just staring with the microphone thinking, what are you doing? I'm up here with the guest speaker. We're ready to start. These two are just talking away. Then the room went dead silent. Everyone's looking at them, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh, we're so sorry. You're only meant to have a reading for 10 minutes, so everyone gets a turn." And holding up the conference is something you can't do because we have 5 guest speakers each day, and, you know, balancing out times and everything. So I haven't had anything major happen, just silly little things. But the bin bags, I'm not kidding. That was hilarious. You know, that for me is probably just more funny things that have happened. But other than that, so far, so good. You know, things not working, you get your microphone and sometimes that carks it on you and you think, oh, great. I have a loud voice, so I don't have an issue talking across the ballroom. But other than that, no, not really.
No. Well, it's the first thing you pack probably now, the bin bags.
Oh, I have. Trust me, I've got about 25 of them. I bought the biggest bag I could get, and I've put it somewhere where it can't get. Unbelievable bin bags.
I guess if things go wrong, I mean, it makes great stories. And you always find a way to deal with it. Because how did you deal with all these cups, 600 cups? Did you stack them, or what did you do?
Oh, because time is always against you, because I'm either introducing the next speaker, or dealing with caterers or something else. It was me just trying to grab them off the table and politely walk away with them and say to people, "Oh, it's okay, I'll take your cups." Well, when you've got 15 big round tables, 100 people, knowing there's no bin, no nothing for them to put anything in, and there's me going, I got to clear the tables for them, because they can't just get up and put it in the bin because there isn't one. Unbelievable. So that was a lot of that. That's probably my funny story. And we had a competition, I think in 2023, and with everyone gets a gift bag when they arrive, and there was meant to be 2 gift bags with something special in them, and that something special meant that they won a prize. So I'm on stage saying, "Okay, now there's 2 people in the audience who've got a gift bag, and you should have," I can't even remember what it was, something special in there. I really can't think what it is. It might have just been a special card. Anyhow, everyone's going, "Jo, no one's got it." And I'm going, "That's impossible. That I asked someone to put them in the bags for me." And I'm thinking that and they're going, "Nope." And I'm thinking, I got 2 door prizes here. We're very fortunate in Australia. We have Rockpool Publishing, who has actually sponsored the conference. They donate tarot decks and books. So that was my spiel to say thank you to Rockpool Publishing. Anyhow, the friend who was helping me, Krista, I looked across for her and I'm going, "Krista, what happened?" And there's 2 bags sitting on the table that no one took. Both of them had the special things. Oh, talking about letdown. So I had to think of a way to pick people from the audience to give the 2 door prizes. That was just nuts. So there's always lots of little things, and you can't get rattled. I mean, afterwards you do. You drink a lot. you do. You drown. You have to. You get a couple of cold beers as soon as you walk out the door. But the energy is what I love at the conference. It's such an upbeat energy, and everybody sort of contributes to it. The audience is fabulous. Some of them are terribly naughty. They'd love to talk to the guest speakers, and the guest speakers, I always pre-warn them. When you speak to the public, don't let them talk to you for too long, because they won't shut up, and they just love to converse. When you're trying to do an hour presentation, they get so excited, and then they think it's all about them, and they forget that you've got a job to do. You're up there, you're talking. But they love to talk to the guest speakers. They love it. They love to be involved, and they're talkers here in Perth. They have no shame. They just put their hand up. "Hey, I got something to say. I can answer." They love it. They thrive on it. They're hilarious. I love it.
Looking forward to that. I mean, I've been a teacher for 21 years with teenagers, so you cannot scare me, Jo.
That's good to hear. That's good.
They can shout whatever. I've got things ready.
That's good.
I've got things ready. So, you've made long last friends probably from these conferences, right?
Yes.
And people making friends, because it's about connection, and it's about
Yeah. That
making
is so true.
everybody be seen. Whether it doesn't matter what level you are in tarot, right?
No, it doesn't matter at all. I love the friendships that have been made. A lot of people have emailed me and said, "Jo, thank you." The people I sat at my table were all strangers when I arrived, and now they're friends on Facebook. They keep in touch, and they realise that everyone's on a different level with tarot, but it makes no difference. I have professional readers that come along. I have beginners that attend the conference. There's people in between. And then I've got the skeptics that even come, which surprised me because they're curious. They want to know why you would hold a tarot conference. You know, what's involved? What does it mean? You know, I let my imagination run away with me sometimes with the skeptics. I often think they think we're sacrificing animals or doing something satanic on stage, or I don't know, but they realise that we're just a group of people, males and females, that turn up because it's fun.
So how open are people in Australia about spirituality and tarot? Is it like all out in the in public? Like people think it's okay, or people find it really strange?
I can't speak for the whole country. I can only speak for Fremantle. So Fremantle is classed as a city with the size of it. Fremantle's one place where you are open with everything and anything. Once you step outside Fremantle, the surrounding suburbs, yeah, they're acceptable of what you do. And then there's certain parts of Perth that obviously aren't. I've recently moved house, as you know, and funny enough, where I've moved to, there's a lot of spirituality workshops and meditation and healing in this area. So I've moved on the coast, and I'm in an area that's still a lot of natural bushland. So I still have kangaroos as neighbours. And yes, they are down the street. There's no doubt about it. We have kangaroos in the street, and it's very much bushland. And there's a lot of activity down here for the healers more so. With tarot, I'm not too sure. I still have my online students that I teach tarot for beginners, and I still do readings online. A number of people still come to where I live now, which is great. But my section of Perth, there seems to be a lot of people that are quite diverse, which I was pleasantly surprised because I had no idea what it was going to be like. It's actually along the coast, there seems to be a lot of alternative type people. So on the coast and in the hills, but then in the centre, it changes. So, yeah, there's a lot of suburbs in Perth where, you know, they won't celebrate Halloween. You know, you can see that no one puts anything out for Halloween. You can just get a feel for a street. You can get a feel for an area. But so Perth is definitely alive in the tarot world. You know, we're so blessed here. We have so many practitioners on many different levels, from the north of Perth to the south of Perth. And you know, the amount of interest I'm getting for the conference, people wanting to be guest speakers. Now that just blew me away. You know, I've got people attending the conference I've never met. It's just that they hear about it, and you know, they're just really interested.
Yeah. Well, it grows, right? Like you said, like it needs people to get used to the fact that there's a conference and there's a safe space also for tarot readers, and you know, and let it grow naturally. I mean,
Yeah.
the universe knows what you put out, and then it will just, you know, evolve from there. Everybody starts somewhere, right?
Oh, look, absolutely. And with 2022 not going ahead with the conference, and then, as I said, putting my big girl pants on and keep going, 2023 happened, 2024 happened, 2025, oh my goodness, you know, I've got yourself coming for a start, which is unbelievable. You know, we're so excited for you to be coming all this way. I've also got Liz Dean from the UK, she's coming, and also Rowan Ong from Singapore. Now, for the Asian tarot community, Southeast Asia, for them to be coming across and start amalgamating with Western Australia, that's exciting.
It is.
So Rowan, his flight from Singapore is shorter than us flying to a particular state in Australia. Wow. So Singapore being an international, you know, country, so he's quite excited to, you know, bring Singapore to Perth.
Yes. And I bring some Dutchy energy over to
Absolutely.
Perth as well.
Yeah. So and at the moment, I've decided to stay with the venue I'm using. Mind you, last year we did lose half of our parking bays. That made it difficult because we always had free parking at this venue, and now the council have taken back half the bays. So, but people still are happy to pay for their parking. But the venue has worked for me because Fremantle, people can stay at hotels, walk across the street, come to the conference. Everything's set up there. I know one day the Italian club will go under a renovation or they're going to detonate it and build apartments. That'll be a sad day for Fremantle because the Italian club also hosts a lot of, healing expos and psychic fairs, and it's just a fabulous venue for size, and it has a feel to it too. It's really, really special.
Yeah, that's why you keep going back.
Yeah, I do. I keep going back to the same venue, and I'm sort of looking for a plan B. So if things change, and I am looking, but I'm not sure yet. But I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. And I'll tell you what else is which is new and exciting for 2025. I've had some stall holders approach me. Now, normally I have 3 or 4 stall holders only, so it's not the markets type setup. But for 2025, I've had a new tarot deck that's around Perth. It's the Swan River Tarot, and that's David Mitchell. So he's approached me and we've got talking, and he's actually will be selling his deck at the conference. And then I've had a couple of other people approach me with their new books on numerology, Jeannie Prosser, and then I've had another person, what was her name, Cassidy, I think it was, Casey. She's bringing her beautiful pottery that she's creating. They're just beautiful statues. So all of a sudden, I've got another market that I'm bringing into the conference, and we do have Cami who brings her crystals, and we have Nicola who sells all our tarot decks, and we've got Stacey who does all the homemade candles, and we keep it really simple. But all of a sudden, we've had all these other store holders contact me, and even one of our speakers from last year. Russell Sturgis, he's asked if he can come back and sell some books. And I said, of course. So Russell, you'll get to meet Russell as well. He's fabulous, very interesting man with his knowledge of tarot. And so things just keep on opening up for me. And Rockpool Publishing have one of their artists, Priestess Moon. She'll be speaking at the conference as well. With her beautiful oracle decks. So my types of so the conference is evolving very quickly, and it's something that I didn't expect to happen. I just thought, I'll give it my best shot and see what I can do, and hope for the best. Like I bring in catering with the food and everything, but I set up a lot of other things. And it's working, it just seems to be working. So I'm just so grateful. I really am.
And we're grateful that you pushed through, because this is something that not everybody would do probably. But
No, you wouldn't.
Like, well, let's make it happen, because I feel that this needs to be out in the world. It needs it.
Oh, look, Jo, once this conference, March 2025 is over, I give myself 2 months off, 2 months out of 12, without worrying about anything, right? Come June, I need to create the website for the 2026 conference. And everyone, all the speakers have to have emailed me with all their information and etc. And then my web person, Sam, I'd be lost without him. He puts it all together, and that's got to be ready by August. And then September, we do our early bird release of tickets, and then I start sweating because I need to get everything out and set up. And then I'd have my checklist, which I check. I feel like Father Christmas sometimes, with this list, naughty or nice, what do I tick next? Because it seems to go forever. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I've got to create this, and then I've got to create that. And then I've got to make sure that everybody's accounted for with their times and where I slot them in. And then sometimes a speaker says, I can't speak at that time of day. And I look at them and go, really? And they go, yep, I'm sorry, Jo, I can't do it. And I go, oh, okay. So then you've got to try and slot and change. But then you've also created your itinerary where you're getting ready to print off, and you can't keep on changing and itineraries because it's just got to be fixed and done. Because then it's got to go to print. And then there's the caterers, booking them, organising morning teas and lunches and afternoon teas, and making sure that they don't close down. Oh, that's what happened in 2023, I think. Yeah, my caterer, I forgot, very sadly contacted me and said, Jo, I'm so sorry, something has come up and we're not going to be able to go ahead with the catering. And it's like, no, where am I going to find another caterer who can? And that it's so scary when you try new caterers because you've got no idea what they're going to be like.
No, that must have been scary. Yeah.
Oh, look, it was.
You sorted it probably. The universe sent you a very nice caterer, right?
Oh, yes. So that worked out well. But it's just like morning tea, we really have a decent morning tea. Like, we've all got sweet tooths, us a lot, a bit of savoury as well. And we just have a light lunch, very light, and a really big afternoon tea. And but yeah, trying to find the right caterer with the right food and catering for everybody and having a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But I've got to sell tickets. So once you sell tickets, then you can start paying off caterers and paying off printers and the website designer. So it's like that little hamster in that wheel. Yeah. That's me. And it's like, keep going. That wheel's turning. Oh, my goodness. And then some days the wheel's a bit slower. And then other days it's like, oh, my goodness, I forgot to get this done. Oh, and you're back to it. Between the conference and a normal day for me, I actually have an outside job. I work for an optometrist, and so I'm a clinic coordinator. So when I go to work, which is only part-time these days, it's my grounding job. And I walk in there and I ground. And they go, Jo, you're the only person that comes to work that gets excited because you're going to do your grounding exercises. You can't do them anywhere else. You come here and you put up the public and you do all these things, but I thrive on it, because I have the love of sight, which is funny. In tarot, sight and intuition is all connected. So I do a lot of work with the optometrist with eye testing and pre-testing, etc. And I have to be normal. I have to walk in there and have nothing on my mind. And I can relax, which is good. And then I come home and then start again.
Yeah. It's a lot of work to put it together, right?
Oh, look, but I'm very fortunate. I've got a couple of good mates that help me set things up, and because we've got to set up all the tables ourselves, the chairs, go pick up tablecloths, pick up this, pick up that. We even bring in water. So unfortunately, it's not where you have a hotel that provides those services for you. But mind you, you've got to pay for that too. And that's where I keep the ticket prices as low as I can. Only WA, Perth is a very expensive state to live in. It's worse than the eastern states, apparently. It is very, very dear. I know the cost of living is high everywhere, but in Perth, it's just ridiculous. And but I still put on a good spread. No one seems to be hungry when they leave, so
that's good. That's good. Take care of them. They love that. So if you would, your conference at the moment, if you would put a tarot card with it, what tarot card would fit with the tarot conference in Western Australia at the moment?
Oh, look, even though the theme is based on the High Priestess, the Sun card, the major arcana, the Sun card, based on the Rider-Waite. You know, you've got this beautiful little young soul that's on the horse. You've got the big red flag, the four sunflowers behind. You know, that's who we are. And we break down that wall and we get on our horse and off we go. It's a journey. It's an absolute passage, and it's a journey, and people get excited for the countdown, and that's what it's about. It's the sun, you know. It's bringing that warmth of the people together, and we create this amazing vibration in the room, and it's just a beautiful feeling. It's warm, and the sun is very special, as we live in a country that is completely sun almost. But the Sun card, it really is.
So in 18 years' time, we did a full circle. You're going to make that, right? 18 years. That's the purpose, right?
Oh, wow. Look, Jo, I'm just so grateful that we got through 2022, 2023, 2024. 2025 is happening. You know, we're there. And 2026 is all booked. So I reckon you're right. So what do you reckon? 18 years' time, we revisit this podcast.
That'll be good.
And we go back to this conversation, and then you can come back across.
Of course. I hope to be back a bit sooner than 18 years, but yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're connected now in a way, so definitely. So if we make this jump in 18 years' time, what do you hope that the conference will be? What do you hope that you've achieved in these 18 years, that you've done the full cycle, you know, like we've done in the UK already? What's it gonna be like, and how will it look? What's your vision about this?
I'd imagine that we would have left the Italian club in Fremantle, and I'm hoping that there's another amazing venue in Fremantle. I love Fremantle for the conference. I love the hotels. I love the fact that people can walk from their hotel to the conference. The restaurants, the food, everything. You know, it's, if you love seafood, Fremantle's fabulous. But I'd like to think that we're still in Fremantle, but we're at a higher end hotel, and but it's finding something that's big enough. That's what I'm up against. I need a big ballroom size that'll fit 150 people in 18 years. I'd like to increase it by half, but only half, because for me to manage 100 people as it is, that is hard yakka. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But I'd like to get it to 150 people.
So, and will it be bigger? Will there be more speakers? Will it still be 2 days? What do you reckon in 18 years?
I'd like to think there's 2 days. Realistically, I don't think we would be able to go into the Monday. Like, the conference is held on the Saturday and the Sunday, and then Friday, the day before, is our setting up day. That's a hard day for us. We work non-stop for 3 hours setting up everything. So if we were in a upmarket hotel, that would all be done for me. So we could always have a function on the Friday night for the guests, you know, as something extra. That would be nice. Where normally all of us who set up on the Friday, we all go out for dinner afterwards, and we include the guest speakers, so that way they get to meet each other. So that's always really nice.
Yeah. So it will still be there in 18 years.
Absolutely. Oh, look, if I've survived this long, 18 years I can do. Oh,
Easy.
Oh, there's it's having faith in something and not doubting yourself. And because the focus is driven by energy, so I've got to keep my energy in a good place. But then, you know, my private life, when things go pear-shaped and things happen, gee, sometimes it's hard, the balance between the two. You know, I've just got to always remember that the conference is my baby, and I have to look after it at all times and support it when things happen and I need to get things done. And then it's just always the balancing of the energy. You know, I wish sometimes I could just wave a magic wand and someone would set it all up for me. In 18 years, I'd like to think that'll happen.
So when the time's there to pass it on and we put everything in a time capsule, like for people to find in 50 years, what will be in this time capsule from the Western Australia Conference?
Oh, wow. Supporting local people, supporting international people, supporting interstate people. I'd like to see a list of all the people that attended. I'd like to see all of the talks, you know, like just the presentations being held in a time capsule, so we can look back in 50 years and just see what people actually talked about it at the conference. That to me would be cool. I mean, you know, we take photos and we pop them on Instagram and Facebook. So, you know, you can find us on Facebook. It's called Western Australia Tarot Conference, and it's the same with Instagram and even the website. It's just www.tarotconference.com.au, because we're the only conference in Australia, which is great. And that surprises me in itself, that no one in the East Coast do anything like this.
No.
So
what if people want to set this up? What do you think that they should focus on? What if someone from Sydney or Brisbane want to set this up? What should they focus on? What would you give them as advice?
Oh boy. First of all is your budget. You know, you need to allow anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to begin with. So you've got to have a budget. So, you know, when you start off, your expenses are huge. You've got no idea behind the scenes how much is involved. But your venue is, you know, location. That's the biggie. So it's pointless holding something if it's a location that people can't get to. And if it's over a weekend, people need to, you know, stay somewhere. So, you know, your venue is so important, your location and your budget, and finding money to pay for things before you sell tickets, because when you have to pay a deposit, you know, you've often got to find $3,000 or $4,000, and then you've got caterers. You've got to leave them a deposit, and then there's, you know, insurance. You know, insurance that's very high just for 2 days. It really is high, but you have to have insurance.
Yeah, understandable. So, why do you think the tarot is so timeless? Because maybe in 50 years, people will still talk about the same kind of stuff. I think they do. What do you think? Why is the tarot so timeless?
I think there's so much history in the tarot that it's impossible to talk about it all. I think it would take 50 years to discuss all the different types of spreads, the new authors coming through, new illustrators coming through, everything. There's always something new to discuss. You know, we can, like, the Rider-Waite is my go-to deck, and you and I could sort of have a chin wag about just one card. And we'd sort of, and we'd just go, oh, wow, okay, look, you know, we'd talk about a symbol, we talk about a colour. You know, tarot's been around for over 600 years now. You know, that's a long time. And, you know, the history of tarot is mind-blowing as it is. You know, the Marseille, the Rider-Waite, all the other decks that have come through. And, you know, what some of the museums in the world still hold a few of the original tarot decks, you know, from the 14th century. So the history is incredible. There's always something to talk about. And what I love is that every presenter has a different take on the tarot. And there's no right or wrong here. It's just about their interpretation. And I love that. I think that's what makes it so special.
It is. You're a tarot reader as well. You said that you still do tarot readings.
Yes,
Do you
yes.
have any funny stories about people like
Oh,
saying things, meeting people, and do you have any good stories about that?
Joe, mm, I can't. I can't. There's people that will listen to this podcast and they'll know who they are. All I can say is I have had many interesting stories, many, and everybody is individual. But I have done thousands of readings, thousands, and your podcast will be broadcasted around the world. And I have read all over Australia, London. I've read through Ireland. So I can't give any funny stories because if the people, I can't.
What about I understand I don't like to go into detail or anything, but maybe you've remember a story, just keep it general, about that it was so aligned with what people are in that situation, what people
Actually,
they
there
were
is one I
surprised
can
about
share.
it.
There is one story I can share because you'll understand why. Years ago, I had a guy contact me for a tarot card reading, and when he came to the house, I asked him. His name was Matthew, and he's given me permission to repeat this story, and you'll understand why at the end. Um, he said, "No, I've never had a tarot card reading, but I was curious." I said, "Okay." So I explained to him that the type of reading I do um, is a 7-card spread, and the 7 cards are laid in an area where each section explains a time frame or what's holding you back. And I tried to be really basic and explain how it works. And so the first area of the spread, I talked about things that was happening in his life right now. And I said to him, your mother's very present around you. And then I looked at another section of the spread of things that was holding him back. And I said to him, "Oh, hang on a minute. Your mother's very much around you, but the problem is your relationship with her is holding you back." And then there was the moon card on the major arcana right next to it. And I said to him, it's almost like there's an illusion around your mother and how she's holding you back. And then there was another card. I can't remember what it was. I said, your childhood. Did you see your mother last when you were a little boy? Now, this grown man nearly burst into tears. And he sat there and he sort of had his arms crossed and he said, you're correct. And then I said, okay, do you want me to go further into this part of the reading? He goes, I'll continue to the next. I went, okay. So I picked up another card and started talking about something else. And he said, stop, go back to my mother. So I did. And I said to him, I'm so sorry. What I'm reading at the moment is that your mother is around you, but she's holding you back, but you haven't seen her since you were a little boy. He said, how do you know that? I said, well, I'm a tarot card reader. I'm reading the cards and the placement and the spread. He says, I want to share something with you. I have paid tens of thousands of dollars with private investigators trying to locate my mum. You, within 5 minutes, are telling me what I've paid all this money about. How it's impossible, he's saying. You couldn't know this. You're not a private investigator. I said, I'm a tarot card reader. I'm reading the cards for what they're telling me. He said, well, what else can you tell me? I said, look, intuitively, I can feel you're a little boy. He said, how old? I said, I feel you were a 2-year-old when you saw your mother last. He said, you are correct. He said, that is just incredible that you can predict that. And I also went into another section of the spread and I said to him, your mother leaves you signs of how to find her. He said, yeah, that's correct. He said, and then I'll tell you the end of the story. When he was 2 years old, his mother kissed him goodbye and walked out of the house, and he never saw her again. Thank God they had a nanny, and she walked out of the house, and he never saw her again. And so he was put into an orphanage, and very fortunately, a very wealthy family adopted him. And then when he was old enough, he went looking for his mum, and his mum was in hiding. She was involved in something, and for the protection of the boy, she went into hiding and left him. And I was able to give him enough information to, clarify I knew what I was doing, and he was shocked. And he asked me to share this story with anyone and everybody because he was still looking for his mum. And he was shocked that some of the world's best private investigators, which he'd paid big money for, knew as much as I did. And that blew my mind. That's one story I can share. And then it was only last year, to be honest, we did another reading, and his mum had passed. So I had to share that with him. And that was, even I cried, so did he. And he said he felt that she had passed, but I was able to share with him that it had happened because there was no signs. They had secret ways of communicating because she was still in hiding from something. So that was quite a story, that one. But he had I think it was like the ABC did a documentary on this case, and it was quite big in the world. And this is, many years ago. So yeah, that's one story I can share.
Wow, that is quite a story, actually.
Yeah, that was mind-blowing. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, isn't it mind-blowing sometimes that we can see in our intuition? Do you feel like tarot is more like an intuition thing, or is it more psychological? What are your thoughts about this?
So I read the cards for what they are, and then I allow my intuition to kick in. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm a true card reader through and through, and then my intuition often kicks in. And this will make you laugh. Sometimes my mediumship kicks in. Now, I'm a sook. I'm the biggest sook you'll ever meet. I know on the outside you wouldn't think so, but every now and then I can be doing a tarot card reading, and I can see, someone who's crossed over. And then I start crying. I'm hopeless. I've got good mates who go on stage, who do shows for mediumship. They want me to join them because I'm a sook, and they reckon I'd be hysterical because I just start crying. Because it's so beautiful. When you've got someone who's passed over and they love the person you're reading for that much, you can feel it. And it's so special, and I'm just a sook. It's worse when it's their dog or their cat. Oh, my goodness. But so when I read cards, I read the card, the Rider-Waite is what I use, or actually my own deck, which is based on the Rider-Waite, I hand drew years ago. And then intuition plays a great part, but it's more than just intuition. Your body is a vessel when you read. You can sense things within the chakras. You can taste things, you can smell things, all your senses come alive. You can feel energy in the room. There's so many aspects to being a reader. I know some people just read cards, and it's not just reading. That's very special too. But when your intuition can work with you, that's a blessing. That's wonderful. Because not all card readers can do that.
It is. For me, it's something very natural that I've always had. And tarot cards just guide me through it. There's so many circles people are in that they give me direction, which I like. So for me, it's like a tool to use.
Oh, they talk to you. Oh, they do. It's wonderful. And that's what I love too, is that, when I teach my students, I always say to them, my job as a teacher is to bring out your true essence. I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs, but I'm going to bring out your essence so you be the reader that you are. And I treat them like a rough diamond. I just polish them until they shine beautifully. And I've got a number of professional readers under my belt, And I'm so proud of all of them. And I hope one of them are listening to our podcast so they know how proud of them I am. And, one of my students has just become professional reader. Will be at the conference for 2025. So she's really excited to be taken on board as a reader. And, it's really special when you see your students, start at the very beginning and then over time, and sometimes it can be years, sometimes it can take 5 years before they come back to me and say, Jo, get me to the next level, I'm ready. And but generally a lot of my students aren't actually beginners. They're people that have been reading, have basic understanding. They just need me to bring out their essence and polish them so they're just a beautiful diamond and they shine.
It's all about confidence also, isn't it? Feeling the confidence with working with the cards, trusting the cards. And you're right. I always love it when I see students of mine, some students of mine are on TikTok and Instagram, and sometimes I watch and they get all nervous.
Yeah.
But it's great to see them and shine.
It is. That's all you want for them as a teacher, And, I started teaching only by chance. I did a reading for somebody once back in the early 2000s, and I finished the reading and she said to me, do you want to teach tarot? And I said, oh, I don't know. I don't think so. She goes, well, you know how to read cards, so you should be able to teach. I said, yeah, I don't think so. I said, I'm not a teacher. And she goes, no, look, we've got an adult learning school in Perth. It was called TAFE back then. And she said, you'd be good as a teacher. And so I thought about it for a little bit of time. And then I started teaching it at night school. And I couldn't believe it. I became a teacher overnight. And I loved it. I had good sized classes. Sometimes they're too big. For me, 15 is too large, far too large. I love teaching one-on-one, and I don't know how teachers do. I don't know how you did it, Jo, as a teacher, but by golly, when you've got that many students in the class. But I taught for years at night school, and I've taught all over WA at different community colleges and different things, and now I've sort of teach at home one-on-one. That's it. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't do big classes anymore. At the moment, I'm very happy with my one-on-ones.
Though that is fun, and that's, you get out the most. I mean, yeah, I remember having classes full of students, 30 plus, to teach them English.
Oh.
And there was like 9 classes. So it's about 6-7 hours a day. I always compared it with organizing a children's party. That's like 6-7 hours a day. That's a bit what the energy was when I was a teacher.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, my classes only went for 2 hours, and that was long enough. And then if I did a day's workshop, I only ever did a few, because when you did workshops during the day, some of the facilities were horrible. There was one place I taught at a couple of times, but it was haunted. It was horrible. But I would get 30 students at least, because they knew it was haunted, and they wanted me to show them, the energy and how it worked. I'm supposed to be teaching a tarot class. No, they all wanted to go through the facility and look for things that moved and feeling cold air. And oh my God, that was funny. I did really well. No, I used to get scared to death. And then they said, Jo, please run it at night time when it's even more scarier. Because I did do some night classes there, and I had to take someone with me because I was a chicken. Lights would turn off, things would happen. And, it was, it was an old hospital. So, instantly we've got a Stephen King scene here, the old hospital. But yeah, I on telly, I can watch anything, but not in real life. I don't need to hear or see anything. I just know.
That can be a bit spooky. That's more like ghost classes.
Oh yeah, I sort of should have. Oh, if I had have titled the course "Ghost Class," I would have probably had 50 people in there.
I think so. Yeah.
But
screaming their heads off. I mean, during daytime it's fine. You know, I experience sometimes when I'm in the shower at the gym that the shower next to me starts. That's very common to me, but at night it's a little bit more spooky, isn't it?
it is. It is. I just nope, 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 nope. No. During the
So
day, you can talk. Yeah.
yeah, sorry. So do you ever receive any tarot readings yourself?
I don't. I actually don't. Because if I don't read for myself very often. I probably read for myself once every few years, only because I'm stubborn. And if I don't like what's in front of me, I'll argue with the cards. But I don't ever have readings. I love living life with manifesting and hoping for the best and allowing things to happen when they do. And I've had a bit of a gypsy type style life where I've always just trusted, and I've always had to trust where I'm going to live next, where what's going to happen next. I've never lived in one house longer than 7 years in my whole life, and except when I was a little girl. But other than that, I think I've bought and sold 12 homes in a lifetime. I just all of a sudden go, it's time to go, and I don't need a reading to know how I feel, only because I'm in tune with myself. And as I said, if I need to know something, I'll do a reading. But I don't have readings. Not,
No.
I just don't need to.
No, you don't receive any readings from fellow
No.
tarot readers or.
No.
All right. Well, fair enough, of course. I can talk to you for hours and hours about the tarot. This is something that we always love to do, don't we?
Oh, we do. Oh, once we get talking about what we do and different things, it's just in us. We're very passionate. We just love what we do, and we believe in what we do.
Yeah. If people still want to join the tarot conference in Australia, are there still tickets left, or is it fully booked?
There's probably only about 20 tickets left.
Right. So people have to be very, very quick.
Yes, absolutely.
I will post the link so people can grab the very last tickets. And for people who are very new to the tarot, what would you say to them?
I would say choose a tarot deck that you connect with. Now, there's lots of different types of tarot decks on the market. I'm very biased. It's Rider-Waite. End of story. That's it for me. But buying a tarot deck that you connect with the artwork, and then just sit with each card, gently, and allow yourself to go into the card and feel what it means to you. Because a lot of my students say to me, Jo, why do you teach the Rider-Waite? And I said, well, once you've learned that deck, you can read anything. That's what it boils down to. Because all tarot decks are laid out the same. They've all got 78 cards. They're all broken into the different, areas, from the 4 different suits to the court cards to your aces and then your majors. But once you understand all the breakdown of everything, you can read any tarot deck, as long as you understand what each suit of the minors mean and appreciate the court cards of what each card represents. But choose a deck that you really resonate with. That's really important.
And should they come to the conference, even if you're
Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. I'll have my tarot decks for sale. You'll have your tarot decks for sale. We've got the Swan River Tarot who'll be there. And Nicola, who has about 150 decks for sale, or she's such a huge range. And that way they can actually just look at all the decks and see what they just connect with. Most tarot readers don't have one deck. Most of them have a number of decks, but there's always one deck you read with. My original deck I bought back in the early 90s. I retired that years ago. Funny enough, I kept it. It was just one of those things. And then I've always just bought the Rider-Waite deck. And then back in 2020, I created my own Rider-Waite deck. So I sort of hand drew just different images. So that's just all done by hand, which is something a bit different. But all the symbols and everything are in the deck, to coincide with the Rider-Waite. So I use this deck now as my reading deck, or this is just a display one to show you. But yeah, so it's really important. Even the size of the cards, that's really important too. When you pick up a deck, you've got to be comfortable when you shuffle. You've got to be able to hold the deck. The feel of the cardboard, if you can, check out a display deck in the store and just play with it, hold it, see what you feel. Yeah. Do you like the colors?
So, yeah, it's a good idea. So people can actually hold them. I always give people the deck and see, like, feel if it feels all right.
They need to.
Then it's probably a deck for you. If it doesn't feel right, it's not. And it doesn't matter what kind of tarot reader you are. If you're a starter or you've already done lots of things with the tarot, everybody's welcome at the conference. I mean, it's once you come at a conference, then it's like you meet people for life, right?
You do. Lifelong friends, which is really special.
So, hopefully those last few tickets will be grabbed up by all these lovely tarot readers, teachers all around the world. And it's worth the trip to go to Australia, and it's beautiful weather, and there will be this
Thanks, Jo
Watkins there to greet you and to make you feel comfortable in this beautiful country. I thank you for this lovely talk, Jo. We've talked about the starting of the conference, and we're in the middle of it. It's not full circle yet, and there's so many more conferences to come and so many people to see and meet. I can't wait to be a little bit of a part of that.
Well, Jo, I think what is the time now in Perth? It's 9:30. So it's 9:30 Friday night. So this time in 4 weeks, I will be with you out in Fremantle having a meal and a cold beer.
That sounds amazing. Can't wait. I can't wait to meet you. Thank you for this talk. Any final words for my listeners, to your listeners, to whoever is listening? Anything you want to give them as very last words?
Just have a lot of patience when you're learning to read tarot cards. Do not expect to learn everything in 1 week. Do not expect to learn everything in a month. You need to create your foundations, basic understanding, and practice. And do yourself a favour. Go to London, go to the UK Tarot Conference, come to Australia, come to the Western Australia Tarot Conference. And there's other conferences throughout the world. Get as much information as you can, but hands-on. There's a lot of fabulous authors out there that have created books that you can learn from, and you'll find an author that you connect with, like your deck, but patience, and don't rush. Never, ever rush your learning. Just remember it takes time, but practice.
Yes, and do as many spreads and as many readings as you can. That's always something I say to my students.
Oh, absolutely. The more practice you get, the better. And it's scary. Do you know, I've been reading for a very long time, and I get just as excited and nervous every time I do a reading. I still do. I get excited and nervous. And you would have thought, after all these decades, oh my goodness, I think I was in my 20s when I started reading, and I've been reading ever since. And I've just never stopped. And I've got friends that are, have hit the 5,000 plus mark with readings. I myself, I think I actually don't know. I've never really counted how many readings I've done, but it would be in the thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
And I still get just as excited. And my clients often say, Jo, you get so excited when you read. I said, of course I do. I have energy in front of me, and it's special.
It is. Every reading is special, and every reading is a gift and a healing, I always say.
Yes, very much, very much. So Jo, I can't wait to see you in 4 weeks.
Yes,
And
looking forward to it. And thank you for
yeah,
being my guest. If people want to reach you, I will post the links under this video where you can reach Jo, her lovely website, where you can reach the conference website.
yep,
And anything else
fabulous.
people need, we will post it under this lovely video. And I hope people enjoyed it. Thank you for watching and listening to this lovely podcast with the amazing Jo Watkins. And tune in for the next one. If you like to be one of my guests on this podcast, contact me through info@tarotjo.nl or send me a DM on social media. Thanks for watching. And
Thanks, Jo.
see you next
Take care,
time.
my friend.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Soon. Bye.
Take a seat, take a breath, let your heart unwind. There's a story in your soul waiting to shine. Pour a cup, lay the cards, let the magic flow. Every path has a meaning, every heart will know. We all have a journey, we all have a light. Through the highs and the lows, it's gonna be alright. At the TarotJo Café, let's talk for a while. Sip on some wisdom, leave here with a smile. The world feels lighter when we share our way. So pull up a chair at the TarotJo Café. She's a dreamer, a healer, a seeker, a friend. Every story has a lesson, a love with no end. In the shuffle of life, we find what is true. Spirit's been waiting, just calling to you. We all have a journey, we all have a light. Through the whispers of fate, we'll find it tonight. At the TarotJo Café, let's talk for a while. Sip on some wisdom, leave here with a smile. The world feels lighter when we share our way. So pull up a chair at the TarotJo Café. Through laughter and lessons,